Yo, what up, CDL? What up, sis?
What it do? What it do?
Okay,
What it do? What it do?
hey, we doing it, you know what I mean? Good evening, family and friends. First, let me start by saying that we had a guest on this evening. As you can see, I said had a guest. She was unable to appear tonight, but she has informed us that when she is available, she will let us know. The great, we call her the queen, Miss Carrie Horn, and she has rescheduled. So when we have that date, we will let you guys out there know. And we are so sorry because we did want to have her on tonight. Okay. Uh, CDL, also Malik, our brother, he's running late. So he'll come on. We'll put him in when he comes through. What's up, people? How y'all doing? What's good? Hey, what's up,
What's
Tierra?
up, That's J Band.
Okay, J Band. Okay.
That's her
And
business name. I call her by her business name. I don't know why.
okay.
I refuse to call her by her name. I don't know what's up with that.
What's up, people? If you're out there, go ahead, come on and let's tap in. You know what I mean? People share it with your friends. You know, as always, it's going to be another exciting show because we're going to speak about and speak to the issues that matter. You know, we are unabashed and, you know, we do our best to censor ourselves, but when it's passion, it comes from the heart, and we're going to tell it like it is. So, before we get started, I just want to make a quick announcement. It's not even really an announcement. It's something I have to say. I have a close friend in New York that I grew up with. She grew up in the PJs and the projects with me. I know her well. She's running to be the mayor of New York City, her African American sister. And what bothers me is that it bothers me that Jay-Z and Nas has endorsed this guy, Ray McGuire. Now, Ray McGuire is a Wall Street guy who has retired to run for the mayor, to be the mayor of New York City. What bothers me about that is he's not from the city. He's a transplant. He actually stayed outside of the city. He didn't grow up in New York. Neither did Andrew Yang, who's running to be the mayor. They are not New Yorkers. And this is for all my people who's viewing that's from the town of New York City. It bothers me that the great Jay-Z, and I respect him and Nas for all the good work they do. But this is where I depart and disagree. Money knows money, of course. So they endorsed this brother. He's a brother who worked on Wall Street, who has no idea of what city life is about. Nor does Andrew Yang. Okay? The sister I'm talking about is from New York. She's from the street. She grew up in hard times. She rode the subway,
Hey,
the city.
real quick. They said your audio is going in and out for some reason. So I don't know.
Oh, let me see if I can
Maybe
move a little. Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me a little bit better now?
I can. Yeah, it was breaking up, but you cool for right now. Yeah.
Okay, so the sister I'm speaking of is one I grew up with. She's taking the public transportation. She grew up in the project. She knows the city. She knows the town. She knows the people. and she knows what goes on there. And it saddens me that Jay-Z, being a fellow Brooklynite, wouldn't look into and endorse her. Her platform is one that's not only inclusive, but it speaks about and talks about all of the issues that affect the city and its people. And to uh, um, endorse a man who's not even from our town. And this is what we do it well. We love the outsider. We don't know for some reason. We'll support everybody else's stuff instead of supporting our people right there at home, the people we know. And that's why I say again, and I'm going to say it again, if you want change in your communities, find out who your local sheriffs are, your local judges, your local politicians, your school board members, the people that directly affect your lives in your state and your town. Find out when they're up for re-election. If you don't like what they stand on, vote them out. Vote for the other guy or the other sister. Too often, way too often, our votes go unheard because we don't get out and vote. And most of us don't believe that voting is a part of our duty. So we just let things go on, and then we complain later on and say, well, why did this happen? Why does that happen? It's because you didn't make anything happen. You didn't bother to vote for your elected officials in your town and your state. So when you have dilapidated homes, the roads is messed up, the educational system isn't what you believe it should be. There's no jobs in your town, or the jobs are moving out. Your police captain, your sheriffs, your chiefs, your mayors, you have no right to complain because you were not involved. You did not get active. And going back to what I'm saying, it just bothers me. It really pisses me off that Jay-Z and Nas would endorse this man who was not of our town. He is not of the city. He knows nothing about the struggles of everyday Americans who work 9 to 5, who in those trenches, who's struggling, who live in those projects in high rent apartments. You know what I mean? That ride the subway, that have nothing. So I just needed to say that. Jocelyn Brown is her name. She's running for mayor of the city of New York. She's a sister, she's a queen, and she's about her business, and she cares about all of the people, not just one person in particular or one group. And she knows the city. She's lived there all her life. So why would they endorse two people or one person who has not lived in our town and our city? Because it's about the dollar. So, and the same goes with Andrew Yang. So, Jocelyn, if you're out there and you can hear me, I salute you, sis. You know, I support you. Unfortunately, I'm here, so I can't vote there, but I'm rallying my people. I'm speaking to everyone I know to support you because you are Brooklyn, not these other people. Brooklyn, New York. So, move along. Assalamu alaikum, bro. What up?
Hey, man. Traffic is crazy out here. They had to go to the bank and take care of a transaction that wasn't approved.
Okay. Okay.
So what
I'll do is I'll source it over to you. You know, we were gonna speak about things today. Well, I already told the viewers that the sister is unable to make it today. That she will reschedule. I have spoken with her. She will reschedule. When we have that date and that time, we'll let the people know. And I'll extend the apologies again. Our apologies again. And you know, Malik, we're going to be speaking about, I guess, something that you mentioned about Black inventors.
About who?
Black inventors.
Black inventors. Yeah, you guys want
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But I have a whole list of things that our people have created and invented in this country that it serves us every single day in everything we do. Whether it's the computer monitor that you're looking at right now on your screen, that very same monitor, the color monitor that you're looking at, or the monitor itself was discovered by an African American man. So we have a list of people you may not have known, but this is our greatness. This is what we do. We are geniuses. We are inventors and creators. And Last, again, I just implore every one of you, you know, to raise your kids, man, and get them into those areas that we need them in. You know, if you want to see change in your community, be the change that you want to see.
Yes,
And
sir.
certainly raise your kids in that way or that manner, in that order. Take off, Malik.
Well, real quick, you know, to the viewers, once again, I mean, you know, peace and love. Thank you for tuning into the sit down where the truth is told and real stories unfold. My apologies for being late. I'm a dude that's always punctual, like the rest of my panel. I got caught in traffic. That's another story. I just typed in real quick 120. I just typed in inventions about Black people, right? And so they just gave me a list, 120. You understand? You know, things that were created by Black people, and this was it started in the 1880s, in the 1880s. So I'm just going to run down a couple. You know what I mean? For the viewers that's paying attention. Hey, Sister Tarani Woodley, what's good, sis? Peace to you. Real quick for the viewers, like we always say, to sit down. Once we're finished having to sit down with you, we need you to continue to sit down at home on your phones and social media with your family and could keep the conversation going, because hopefully our intentions rather are to bring topics to the viewers that are relevant, no matter what community you live in, no matter what race, creed, sexual orientation, community you live in. It's one world, one community. You understand? The human community, the Black, you know, the human race. So with that being said, I implore you, we implore you, right? When this is over, or while you listening, you know, while I'm watching, just Google inventions by Black people. You know what I mean? So real quick, in 1885, Sarah Good became the first Black woman to receive a U.S. patent. Again, in 1885, Sarah Good became the first Black woman to receive a U.S. patent. Her patent was the folding table. The folding cabinet bed, right? And then George Crumb, he created the potato chips. Garrett Morgan, the gas mask. This was in the 1800s. The protective mailbox, Philip P. Downing, blood banks, Charles Richard Drew, the ironing board, Sarah Boone, the home security system, Mary Van Brown, right? The traffic light, the red, green, and yellow traffic light, right? Garrett Morgan, right? Refrigerated trucks, where you transport produce in 18 trucks and semi-wheel trucks that produce transport produce or cold food products, frozen products. The refrigerated truck was designed and created by Frederick McKinley Jones. Automatic elevator doors was created by Alexander Miles in 1887. The electric microphone, Dr. James E. West. The color IBM PC monitor and gigahertz chip was created by Mark Dean. All right. Tissue holders, peanut butter, the laser Faco, automatic gear shifting cars, clothes dryer, 1892 by George T. Sampson, the dustpan that you used to pick up trash with, Lloyd P. Ray. The list goes on and on. I mentioned, rather, you know, me and my co-hosts, right? We mentioned these things that was created and designed by Black people, because I'm still puzzled about racism. I'm still puzzled about racism. I'm still puzzled as to why certain people, right, are racist and have a hatred towards Black people when we ain't do nothing to you. If you had a situation with a Black person and you was a victim of something, that's between you and that person. It should. If a white person calls me the N-word, I'm not going to hate all white people. That's between me and him, or me and her. I'm not going to pigeonhole and castigate a whole race of people because one individual insulted me. I was in the penitentiary. When you look at a correctional officer, a white guard, for you staring at him for too long, he said, "What you looking at, nigga?" He call you a nigga to your face. What are you looking at, nigga? These dudes were 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 3 and some change. They knew they had the odds was against you weight-wise. The odds was against the inmate population guard-wise. You may swing off, you may stab one, cut one, but at the end of the day, they're going to break you up. me and my co-host, we've seen it time and time again behind the wall when inmates was broken up by the correction officers. You may get your thing off a couple of punches in, but at the end of the day, they're gonna fold you up and they're gonna wash you up, and the damages is not gonna be pretty. So they will look at you and you stare too long. Their thing is, what are you looking at, nigga? Like you thinking about doing something, do it. They will call you a nigga to your face. So with that being said, I didn't come home, right? Fortunately for me, I wasn't a victim of that. But I'm just mentioning that story to say that if had I been, right, a person of color that was disrespected by a white person anywhere in society, I'm not gonna hate a whole race of people because one individual or two people violated me. So again, this research or this idea of talking about black investment is to talk about what black people brought to America. There would be no, and I'm not bragging, I'm not saying this with black pride, I have no black pride. You understand? But I'm not saying this with dignity. I'm not saying it for the sake of the conversation. People need to know that when we were brought here and enslaved, what we were before we were brought here forcefully, right? Black people need to know before we were brought here in chains, you understand, on them dirty ships, what we were about before we were brought here. A lot of black people don't even know their own history. And when it comes to black history, some black folks don't want a conversation. I don't want to hear that African shit. I don't want to hear all that slave talk. I don't want to hear all that. That's why you stuck in the situation that you're in mentally and emotionally, and you can't evolve because you don't want to hear about your own. I'm not, again, this is not a prideful thing for me. You understand? But it does give me a level of comfort to know what my people, black people, brown people, have contributed to American society. There would be no America, advancement-wise, without input from black slaves. Because all of this was done when we were enslaved. All these creations, these inventions was created and invented when we were slaves. The majority of the slaves that came up with these inventions, they did it because we already had a natural intelligence, a natural inclination to knowledge and building things. And when we came up with these ideas, a lot of us, we couldn't get a patent. So who got the patent? Massa. Massa went and paid for the patent. Massa went and took responsibility for what we created. And it's still going on 401 plus years later.
Malik.
So again, yo.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish.
Go ahead, bro. No, go ahead, brother.
Because you made the early reference to racism and what you don't understand about racism. So let me read something that's brief between. See, there's a difference, people, between racism and prejudice. So let me explain right quick. Prejudice refers to a preconceived idea about a particular group of persons or race, while racism involves the unequal distribution of power of a certain. So when we start to talk about systemic racism or systematic racism versus prejudice, because I've been seeing on the news for the last few weeks, months. Well, and just recently, that clown, what's his name? This clown, he said that there can be racism. America can be racist because you had a two-term black president, and now you have a African American / Indian vice president. So, you know, by his saying, his estimation, or his feelings is that America is not racist because Barack was the president, and now we have Kamala Harris. See, again, there's the difference between being prejudiced against something or someone or biased and being racist, because we're talking about the levels of power, the distribution, the even distribution of power in the systems that are set in place that normally favors Caucasians, marshmallows. Okay, so let's always be clear on that. When you hear people say that there's no racism in this country, take them to the facts. Always speak the facts and know what you're talking about, and be able to break down prejudice versus racism. You know what I mean? Lindsey Graham. Why are these fools? See, this is another problem. Because the privilege that we talk about when we say white privilege, so many of them deny it and they run away from it and they don't want to, they always deflect. That's the first thing. They deflect. I don't have white privilege because I go through the same things you go through. No, you don't. Because the poorest marshmallow or Caucasian is almost better than the most educated or rich African American or person of color. Mm-hmm. Why? I can go to a one of those trailer parks. I can pull a white female out of there, right? Dusty hair, teeth rotten, beat down, right? And I can send a brother who probably graduated from Harvard, intelligent as hell, to a job interview. All we got to do is clean her up. Give them the same resume. Now, check this out. This brother actually the sister has what they have. But we're going to clean her up. We're going to fix her teeth, give her the outfits, makeup, hair, the whole nine, and give her the same resume as the brother or the sister. And we want to see who's going to get that job, okay, or that housing. Because the brother may have a name like Malik. She may have the name Becky, or Karen, okay? They're going to look at Malik's application and say, wait a minute.
Peppermint Patty.
Huh?
I said it's Peppermint Patty.
Peppermint Patty, whatever you want for him. They're going to say, oh, Malik, that sounds like a black African-American name, or Muslim. You ain't even a Muslim, you're Muslim. Okay? Peppermint Patty's Patty's application, or Karen's, who's more likely to get the job? Or we're going to send both of them in there back-to-back to interview. Karen may get the job, but they don't know. Karen, we just pulled out the trailer park. See, when we start talking about the system, I want to talk about systems here. We're not talking about the prejudice part. The systems that dictate that the Larry Grahams of the world believe that this country had a black president and now has a female vice president, a woman of color, and all as well. And we don't have racism or systematic racism in this country. It's crazy. So I just wanted to share that, Malik, because you were saying, like, I don't get it with this racism thing. I get it, and you really get it. You know, we trying to keep it on the low without really going there. You know,
I'm gonna go there.
Okay, go there.
I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there because, you know, a lot of people, you know, first of all, I just want to put a disclaimer out there. I specialize in African American studies because of this, because I got tired of just certain definitions of racism and prejudice, right? So I wanted to know the ins and out and the history, the true history, because you don't learn it in school and under, you know, lower education. I studied African American family, period. From Africa to America, you know what I'm saying? Religion and spirituality from Africa to America. And so what people, and it's the most irritating thing in the world is, yes, you spoke on, there's a difference between prejudice, discrimination, and racism, right? Anybody can be prejudiced and discriminatory. However, racists, there's only one race that can be racist, because they're the only ones that displayed the definition of racism. And the definition of racism is when a group of people, right, when a race determines another race is inferior to them. There's only one race that feels that they are superior to all, and that is the white race. They're the only ones that's able to be racist. The rest can be prejudiced. But racism, and hey, look, we can look at some definitions, but they do it by appearance, right? Like the characteristics, meaning melanin as well, and determines by that the level of superiority or inferiority, right? And that goes along all the you know, the systemic, institutional, and blatant, right? So people are always talking about, oh, if a black person speaks against or any person of color speaks against a white person, oh, you're racist. No, I just don't like your ass. I'm prejudiced towards you, for sure. 100%, right? That doesn't mean it's impossible. They don't even have the power to oppress, right? Because also in the definition is the ability to oppress another person, right? So there's no other race that has the power to oppress. Even if I say black power and I feel prideful and powerful about, you know what I'm saying, blackness, I still don't have the power to exercise that racism.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? And so people will twist that shit, of course, as they always do, to fit their narratives, right? So if a bunch of black people get out there and protest about all these killings that are at the bottom of our screen right now, rest in peace to all of them. When we talk about it, then all of a sudden we're pulling the race card. No, they pull the race card every time every action that they portray against people of color. They're the ones pulling the race card and the racial profiling and the all
guess
of that.
guess who came up with that saying, the race card?
Oh,
white people.
Yeah.
We didn't invent the race.
You're picking. Oh. Yeah. Look,
that's a way. That when they do that, in my opinion, that's a way of deflecting. You feel me? That's a way of deflecting and flipping it. You understand? But two things. I'm glad the brother gave the definition of racism and prejudice. You understand? And I'm also glad that you mentioned, you understand, inferiority, because this is why I mentioned, right, when I talk about why you're racist towards us, this is what I'm talking about. That inferior thing, understand? Like you're superior, we're inferior, your race is superior and we're inferior. That's why I asked the question, what did black people do to you, right? To give you the opinion, idea, long term that you and your ancestors held on to, where we're inferior. When we built this, you know, we built the Egypt. Some scientists still unbelievable, don't believe that we actually built these. They was at one point you had some European scientists saying that the limestone was 1,000+ pounds, ton and more, and that we had to have been 20 tall. At one point, they were saying that the black race was, 15 feet tall, 20 feet tall, and one guy stood up and had the thing on his head, like you can carry 1,000 pounds, a ton on your head. Another guy climbed on his shoulders, picked it up, held it up. Another guy climbed on his shoulders, and so on and so on. That's unrealistic. That was their way of refuting the absolute truth. They still don't understand how we ate these pyramids in Egypt. You understand? That how many floors? Maybe about 40, 50 floors. 60 floors.
Look, let me just say this too on the white privilege thing, right? They invented the term white privilege as well. You know what I mean?
Of course they did.
They approve, you know what I'm saying? And then they have an issue when you tell them that they have white privilege. And I want to go back to what Iran was just talking about, because like you said, you could take two different people, right? You just did the scenario, but people always think that white privilege means economics, right? That's all these people think about. They don't think about actual human lives, right? Because I can be poor and you can be poor. You know what I'm saying? A white person can be poor and a black person, that means we're equal. No, you still do not have to. See, you can dress up Becky, but you can't dress down Iran, right? You can dress up Becky, but you can't take your melanin out your skin. You know what I'm saying? The privilege is that no matter where they come from, what they have, where they go, and what they doing, they don't have to look over their shoulder. Right. They don't have to worry about getting shot every time they come out the house. They don't have to worry about their kids having a teacher's foot in their fucking neck. I said it, in their fucking neck at school, like they did the other day. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to worry about those things. You ain't gonna see no brother who's a teacher put their foot on the back of no white boy's head. So I'm tired of people talking about white privilege isn't real. Look, bro, that deflection is real. Let me calm myself down. Let me calm my crown down. Let me
cut that boy back in place, yo.
Let me calm that shit down.
Hey, Malik,
don't give me all one.
CDL, you ever heard this one? Like Malik was just saying a minute ago when he said, we came from Africa. We. Most people are saying, wait a minute, we ain't come from nowhere. I didn't come from Africa. I was born over here. I was born right here. I don't know nothing from about Africa. So I pose this question. You were born of your mother, right? You're a descendant or offspring of your mother, correct?
Indeed.
Your mother is a descendant or offspring of her mother, which is your grandmother, correct?
Indeed.
Your grandmother is a descendant of her mother, which is your great-grandmother, correct? And then your great-great-grandmother was where? A descendant of Africa. So it's the genealogy, it's the bloodline, all the way up into present day. So when I hear people say, I'm not from Africa, you may not be physically from Africa, but your bloodline is from Africa. That's where our bloodline is from. So that's another thing that pisses me off when brothers and sisters keep talking about, listen, miss me with all that. I don't want to hear that, all that. All y'all talking about this African stuff, and all y'all want to do is be divisive and this, that, and other. We're just telling you the truth. We're telling you facts, what we know. What you know, but you wish to deny. Okay? The facts are the facts. The human creation goes back to Africa. If you believe,
that's all.
If you believe as a Christian man or woman, and I'm not bashing anyone because people believe as they believe. And I love you for whatever faith you are in your belief. But if we go back there, you open it up and you look at where the Garden of Eden actually is. The Garden of Eden is in Africa.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them. You're hurting them.
No, I got to tell them where the three rivers meet. The Garden of Eden is in Africa, where the three rivers meet. Do you know the three rivers? So if God, let's just say, placed Adam there in the Garden of Eden in Africa, I would just like you to tell me, because the marshmallows always say go back to Africa. Take your ass back to Africa. So we go back to Africa. If this is where creation started based on, the Bible, where you from?
I'm gonna bring this topic up. How they're talking about reparations. And there's some for those who are direct descendants, right? That they can prove their lineage and their direct descendants, and then the ones who cannot, right? And it's crazy to me, not just on the reparation part. I mean, I don't care about that part. Mm-hmm. I care, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just use that example because there's a big division in the Black community and some Black communities on who should get reparations, right? Are you going on melanin? Are you going on lineage? Are you going on ancestry? Like, where are they going to get the information from, right? And then it's going to segue into the other topic, but that right there is causing a division amongst their people themselves. Like, you're trying to separate you from the other one. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so I can't prove your lineage, so you ain't Black enough to get reparations. This one can. Like, it's a constant battle within our own communities between, direct descendants versus indirect descendants, right? Like, you know what I mean? There's some who may have came from a different way.
But that's crazy because I care about reparations. I want mine.
No, I do. No, that just wasn't my. I didn't want to go into that topic. So
the price don't went up. It's way past 40 acres. Y'all owe us about 1,000 acres apiece in about. Okay, because this country paid. This is the crazy shit. This country paid the Japanese for dropping a bomb on Hiroshima. When they first came over and attacked Pearl Harbor, okay, killed all the men and soldiers.
They paid the ones that they put in the concentration camp, yeah.
Yeah, hold on. Irregardless, this country paid them. This country helped to pay our Jewish brothers and sisters for the Holocaust. Some shit Hitler did. This country done paid everybody else but us. But when we think about it, somehow we are deemed anarchists. We're loud. We're crazy antagonists. We hate. We're angry. We're not angry. I got a smile on my face. I had a good day.
I'm not angry, but I'm an antagonist.
But we just want to give you the facts and tell you the truth, so you can be armed with the truth and have some knowledge. So when you go out there and deal with the world, you're dealing with it from a position of strength, power, and knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? So when somebody come at you sideways, you can say, "Hold on a second, wait, that ain't what my people talk." CDL ain't say that. Malik ain't say that. Oran ain't say that. And not because we said it, you did the research on your own.
Right.
It's just crazy how we keep trying to separate our own people, though. That's the point I was getting to.
I mean, some of our people are separating themselves, though.
Like No Fiction said, if I believe from last, he's Irish, right?
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
No Fiction said, how can anyone prove anything like that when we, the white people, destroyed the history? And that's a valid question. You know what I mean? People aren't gonna, not everyone's gonna be able to trace too far back because a lot of stuff was destroyed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But to try to separate, you know, there's a whole, I study it often, and there's some militants on both sides talking about, nah, if you can't prove you're a direct descendant, you shouldn't get no reparations. And I'm like,
direct descendant, where you get from?
Who we're the direct descendants? I just broke it down to you.
I know.
The descendant of your mother. Your mother is the descendant of your grandmother. Her mother is descendant of your great grandmother, and so on. We all descendants. What the hell? I didn't have to physically be on the boat. My ancestors were. And guess what? And a lot of times in my life, I hadn't been physically on the boat, but in this country, I've been on the boat with the system.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Okay, I need to be paid. God damn it, give me mine.
Absolutely. And that's my point. That's what I was bringing up, because it's going to segue into my next topic later. But
so yesterday, actually this morning, me and Jughead was having a conversation, all right, about prejudice / racist police officers, right? And I brought him. I had to take him back to a place where I don't like even visiting mentally, you understand? Or conversationally, which was a situation I dealt with in the pen in 2009, 2008, when I was in the pen.
So we're in the club. You straight, bro?
He has too
much reverb in the back. Go ahead, sis. What you talking about?
Hold on.
So
go ahead. You're logged in twice, and I don't know why.
Move the screen, sis. Straighten it out. Put me back on the other side.
He's logged in twice, guys. He needs to log out. Yeah. I don't know what he did, but
let's talk about this right quick before he comes back and you get to your topic. As we've all been watching the news the last couple of days, we see what's happened down in North Carolina, my second home, with the brother Andrew Brown. His family was allowed to view 20 seconds of the videotape today. Two officers quit and one resigned. We know why this happens, because they have to save their pension. They resign because they know not only are they wrong, they're going to be criminally charged. So they resigned. They had to save that pension. They allowed the family to view 20 seconds of the video. And when they came back out, they said it was a murder. Okay. This man was shot in the back of the head, and a hail of bullets. And they said when they found him, his hands were still on the steering wheel. Okay. So again, over in Virginia, Isaiah Brown, after being dropped off by a police officer, was gunned down and shot 8 times by the same police officer. As he was on the phone talking with the dispatcher, she said to him, "Do you have a weapon?" He said, "No." As he was walking out, he had the phone from the house. Of course, automatically, the The officer thought it was a gun. This is the first thing they see. Based on the 911, the operator said he asked him what was happening. He said he's going to shoot his brother. Do you have a weapon? I believe he said yes in the home. When he came out, she asked, do you have a weapon? He said no. I think something got lost in translation. What up, Rico? When he came outside and the officer asked him to raise his hands, he was shot multiple times. He was shot 8 times. He's in the hospital fighting for his life. It's just crazy how the first thing officers do, and in this case, Caucasian white officers do, is shoot first and we'll ask questions later. None of your training has taught you to distinguish between a stun gun and a phone. It only takes a split second when you're looking at an assailant to look at his body and look at his hands and to determine what's actually in his hands. So let me shoot first and we can justify this later. And what's happening in North Carolina right now is a tragedy. It's going to be another high-profile case. Some heads are going to roll. 7 officers' body cams, and they only showed 1. Why do they only show 1? Did they only show 1? Because they already know in 20 seconds that that's a disrespect to the family. If you're going to show me how my son was killed, show me he's already dead. I'm already in pain and grieving. I need to see the whole video. They did not show the whole video for a reason. In most cases, just like recently with the little girl in Ohio, oh, they got that video out immediately. You know why? Because they said, well, we could prove she had a knife in the process of stabbing him. So if this video in North Carolina doesn't have anything or says that the brother Brown was being threatened towards the cop in any matter, they would have put that out. They didn't put it out because they know, oh, here come the lawsuits, here come the marches, here come the black lives, here come the people. The people is what we're talking about here. The people. For the people, by the people, we are the people. We have power. We have strength. Those days of just shooting us down and killing us, them days are over. Okay? So the brother in North Carolina name is Brown, and the brother name and the brother in Virginia name is Brown. Seems like they don't switch letters now. They're starting on the B's. They're knocking off the Brown family. And I know that sounds like it was a joke, but I'm not joking. This shit is this is serious. And we need to get activated, motivated, get out there, raise your voice. I don't care what state you're in, raise your voice. Because this has got to stop happening. And it has to stop happening as well with us against us. Okay? I'm gonna pass the mic.
Well, real quick, what I was saying, I don't know what's going on with my internet. So to the viewers, you know, I apologize for the disruption and the in and out. But I was having a conversation with Junkhead this morning, right? And we was talking about racist police officers, you know, prejudiced police officers or whatever. So, and it brought me back to 2008, 2009 when I was in the pen, and we had the youth program, the youth assistance program, where the senior counsel of that prison, through the warden's commission, would petition certain schools in the surrounding county for a list of children to bring in for the purposes of having them sit down with the youth program and be mentored and talked to about prison, going to jail, the importance of education. So we got a list of students that was on the dean's list for doing wrong, acting out of school. In conclusion, we had one group in of 40 kids, right? And most of them were white kids, middle school, 6th, 7th, 8th grade or whatever. And one of the girls, I'm not gonna mention the young girl's name, but we after a while, we had a horseshoe group. We had them in a horseshoe, 40 kids. And after about 2 hours, we broke up into small groups of 5. So in this particular group, I was chaperoning, and I'm talking to the group, and one of the girls asked me about the guards in there. And she said, how are the guards? I said, what do you mean, how are the guards? She said, their behavior, their attitudes towards, I said, towards who? I said, the inmates? She said, no, the black inmates. And I was like, why do you ask? And she said, because my father is a correction officer. He works in this facility and he's standing right behind you. So I didn't look, but I knew what she was referring to when she said behind me. He was standing in the doorway of the day room and he was watching his daughter. And she said he's trying to intimidate me with his eyes. So after a while, I got up like I was going to get some water and I looked at him and he's standing there, big redneck looking dude. You could tell he was on some bull crap at home, but he wasn't the physical abusive type. He didn't beat her, he didn't beat her mother. And then she was telling me that he doesn't like the fact that she likes rap music. He's always asking her, why do you listen to that nigger music? And she was like, what's a nigger, Dad? You understand? And then he gave her his synopsis or opinion of what a nigger is. And she's like, I don't know any niggers. I know black people. I know I have black friends. I know their parents. This is who I play with when I'm in school, who I'm in school with. And I like black music. So what she did was she enlightened the group, right? The counselors, the youth counselors, the inmate counselors, to the fact that a lot of her friends, parents, did not like the fact that their white children was listening to rap music. And it got to a point where they were saying, you living in my house, I don't want to hear that crap in my house. And they were like, yeah, whatever. You know how some of these kids talk to their parents? And she was saying,
I mean, that's common. That's very common. That's more common.
She was saying that, but she was saying, what I didn't know was that some white people were telling their children they don't like the fact that they listen to black music, hip hop music. Yeah. That was 2008, 2009. Fast forward to 2021, a lot of this music they listen to, you understand, it has a lot of negative references to it when it comes to their own race, the N word and the B word. But these young kids, these young white teenagers, they still listen to that music in the house where for some of them, it's not wanted in the house. But some of these parents, they don't discipline their children. They don't beat the child because it's child abuse and yada, yada, yada. So the parent comes from, they leave home with an attitude and they go working in these environments where it's predominantly black and brown, and they take that aggression out in the black and brown community. You understand?
No.
So it brought me to ask the question. I was like, so do you think, to the brother, I said, do you think a lot of these cops that are killing black men are bringing their aggression from home, from the suburbs to the black community? And they lack patience with us because they have to be patient with their children who listen to black music, who have black friends, who don't like hearing the black rap music in their homes, where the N-word is being referenced in black music. And these white teenagers are in home, in their room with their door closed, singing these lyrics.
So wait, just let me be clear, because I may have just zoned out or something. Are you asking, or are you inferring that because they got issues with how their kids are dealing with black and going against them, listening to black music, that they're taking it out on black people?
That was an opinion based on a statement made by this young white girl.
Well, she might.
She was on to something.
I believe she was on to something, because the brother made a reference to the fact that most of the police that come from in NYPD in New York, let me keep it on New York. Most of the police in New York, we know they don't live in the 5 boroughs. We know they live in Staten Island and Long Island. Most of them don't live in Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, and Harlem, in the so-called hood. Most of them live in the suburbs. And they come into the hood, the black and brown community, to police us with this aggression that they can't take out at home when they have marital problems, they have problems with their children that are jacking or embracing black and brown culture. So they come to the community and they take that aggression out in the community.
That could be true. Most behaviors inherent or learned. Everything we are inherent and learned. So if there's abuse in the home or the lack thereof, okay, most men, I'm not, matter of fact, generally, when it comes down to men who beat and harm their girlfriends or wives, it could be two things: a learned behavior or something that's in them, in their DNA that was passed down. You understand what I'm saying? So if we take these things and separate them or put them together, you got the family over here who police officer who doesn't like the music his daughter listens to, the race of people she hangs around, and he, you know, his thing is, let me give you your iPhone or go in the corner and get a timeout. And he's angry with that. And he could very well be coming to work and taking it out on the community, people. So I think she was on to something, and that should be a study that should be done out. I don't know that.
I think y'all making excuses for racist ass white boys. That's what I think.
We're not trying to make excuses. We trying to find out, because unless we sit down with a racist cop, we talking about
I've sat with racist cops and had conversations.
Listen,
but go ahead.
Listen. I get it. I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying.
I can't hear you, Orion, because you're both talking.
We're trying to set it up like Malik was saying, where this anger and attitude could be coming from when these white officers go to work and take it out on black people. That's not an excuse. That really goes to their state of mind. Racism, you hate our people so much.
Listen. Can I please say this uninterrupted? Sure. We are always making excuses for mental health for these fucking white people. We're always, I mean, we just had a white dude get away with raping a black 8-year-old girl because of mental health. We're always blaming it on their fucking mental health. This racism and this hate that they have for people of color is generational after generation after generation. And there's let me finish, please. Let me finish, because I'm not unapologetically fucking not going to even take away from any responsibility. And I don't give a fuck about our rap music, and I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. They are fucking bigots. They hate people of color. And guess what? They're doing it without the badge too when they're off duty. They're being just as discriminatory. And there's a lot of them that are single with no kids. I mean, to say that they're blaming it on, and I'm gonna tell you, there's a Caucasian male in the other chat that said something really profound. He said, I don't understand what he was saying about the black music. This is the white person. There's R&B, but more important that he said that growing up as a Caucasian, they are taught the idea that, that was an affection. I'm sorry. I personally, where I live, we were taught that we were all poor and struggling because people of color were taking the resources off welfare. So that's like that's just an example of the ideology that's taught generation after generation, that black people are dangerous. They're criminals. They're all these things. And these Caucasians, whether they're cops or not, they have the same behaviors. They just have the power now because they have a gun and a badge. But they're the same regardless.
Okay, I get your point. But I'm not talking about, first and foremost, just be clear, but to the viewers that listen to this and to you, right? It's not about making excuses. First of all, I can't make an excuse for anybody's behavior but my own. All I can do is excuse the behavior or not excuse the behavior. I'm not going to make an excuse for someone's behavior. What I'm saying is this. Right? That perspective, that narrative, that 13, 14-year-old young white girl gave, it had validity to it. You understand? So with that being said, what I'm trying to do is have a conversation, and hopefully, right, one of these officers that are racist, prejudice, right, that come to the black and brown community and take their aggression out, because it is not all white cops that are doing this shit. It is not all white police in the communities that are trigger happy. It is not all white cops that hold on. It's not all white cops that have that type of emotion and a mentality. I'm trying to find out. My question to the statement that I made, you understand, is where is it coming from? Again, I have to ask the question, what the F did we do to you as a whole race of people? I can tell you and your people what you did to us, and it's valid. It's valid. Your racism and prejudice is invalid. for you to pigeonhole a whole race of people and dislike and hate a whole race of people is unfounded. It is unfounded. There is no factual basis for it for a whole for individual white people or collectively that are racist. They can give me no valid intellectual reason why they are racist. Again, if a black person did something to you and you're an individual white person, okay, that's between you and that person. You cannot castigate and pigeonhole a whole race of people or create a color of people because of one incident with a black person. You cannot. And on another note, for the individual that talked about what he was taught about blacks on welfare, welfare was created for white immigrants, for European immigrants, be clear. So from the 1960s until the present day, there were more white people on welfare by far than any other race. Be clear on that.
To this day.
That's, I said the present day. I said that. So be clear on that. I don't know what your parents taught you, but read the book by my white brother, my white colleague, James Lowen. Lies my
teachers told. He agrees with it. He's not saying he agrees with it. He said that's what they're teaching the white people. I'm
not saying he agreed with this. I'm saying whatever he was taught, it was incorrect. I'm not saying he agreed with it. I'm saying to be taught that by your parents is a lie. They lied to you. That's why I referenced the book by my white colleague and my comrade, James Lowen. Lies my teacher told me. Read the book and you'll see where I'm coming from.
And sis, your passion, your passion. And yes, angry. We get angry. And I respect myself, of course, your brother. We respect your passion and your anger because I get angry.
I love it. I love it, and I support it.
And where you coming from, and we know your pain because we go through it. But let's be, as you both like to say, let's be clear on something. I would never agree with the enemy. Never. Okay? That'd be like, here's a white flag, whip me, beat me, handle me, do whatever you want to do to me. I will never surrender and agree with the enemy. What I was saying was, most behaviors are two things, learned or inherent. Inherent means passed down. So if this person, daddy was a racist, and mama was a racist, and his granddaddy was a racist, it's passed down. So Malik was trying to make the point that based on what the girl was saying in the group, he was making a good point because he may already have been a racist, okay? And he doesn't already like his daughter listening to black music. And she damn sure don't want to see.
I mean, I just can't see someone go kill somebody over that, though. That's some like.
We're not talking about.
That's a product of being prejudiced and biased against a certain person, group,
and white privilege.
Music, and
white privilege.
Racist parts that come in with it. So we were not agreeing, nor will we make excuses for the opposition because they are the ops. And they'll always be the ops. But right quick, so I can shut up. What Malik was just saying, every cop, white cop in America,
absolutely
does not hold those same views,
no, I know that.
temperament, or anger. By and large, there are a lot of Caucasian cops that do a hell of a job and don't stand for the BS. You understand what I'm saying? And will not do that.
I mean, there's black cops that allow the bullshit. So
check this out. Let me jump in real quick. Check this out real quick, right? Now listen to this, right? I'm gonna give you an example, right? I've been around dudes that are cowards. You understand? We've all been around dudes in these streets that think they was gangsters and felt that was straight up cowards. You understand? They will put their hands on a woman, on a female, right? But you wouldn't put your hands up when I smack you in your mouth a couple of times.
Right.
You wouldn't put your hands to defend yourself, to fight back if I punch you in your face if you violated. You understand? But you would take, because I smacked you in your mouth and you was a coward and you wouldn't do nothing to me, you go home and you beat your girl. You understand? You get in a conflict with a female right after I smacked you in your mouth and you didn't do nothing, but to make you feel better, you will go the first female you get into a beef with, you'll put your hands on her.
Right.
Meanwhile, the violence that you instigated towards her, right? It was really for me. But you was a coward. You wouldn't fight me, one-on-one or otherwise. You understand, weapon or otherwise. So you went and you took it under the first opportunity you could with a woman. I'm saying this to say this aggression from these white officers that shoot first, right? It's not coming from an empty place, man. It's coming from a space where it's coming from a space. It's coming from a space, and this is just my opinion, man. It is coming from a space where this shit is built up, and they couldn't take that aggression out on whoever it was really meant for at home, and you bring that shit to work. It's happening in the penitentiary. It is happening in the penitentiary every day. Every day.
They would be shooting white people too then.
It has happened in the penitentiary because it's the isolated community within a community. You understand? And it takes a lot to get someone from outside to come inside and investigate racial bias and hate crimes and violence against the black and brown population of inmates from white officers. It takes a lot to get somebody inside to investigate that. That's why it's gotten away with so much. However, in conclusion, it is happening out here in the free society, in the free world, around the globe. It is not just America that's dealing with white police and black community violence. It is not just America. America, we watch American news. But if you watch BBC, you will see it's happening in Europe as well, in Germany as well, with black people being castigated, targeted, harmed, and worse, right, by white officers. It is not just America.
CDL,
and I want to know why.
CDL, what did you say?
I said if that theory was solid, and I'm saying this as a person who deals with domestic violence every freaking day, because I teach domestic violence, I teach anger management. My thing, if that was the case, then if that held any water, then they would come to work and take it out on all people, not just blacks. They would take it out on
the about all
people.
Sis,
you keep cutting me off in the middle of my sentence. My thing is this: they are, to me, that's making an excuse for them. In my mind, you don't have to agree, but my opinion is that's it. That's like a sympathy card. That's like a sympathy check. You know what I'm saying? Just like the dude who shot up everybody. Oh, he had mental health issues. It's like they always do that with the white people, and I don't want us to get in the habit, or myself, I'll speak for myself, to get in the habit of keep making excuses. Not that you, Malik, are making an excuse for them, because you've already made that clear. You don't excuse that, but someone else will take that and be like, oh, these cops are so stressed out. Oh, he didn't mean it. He has some problem. Fuck that. Like, that's giving them an out.
Everybody that watches us got common damn sense now. Common sense to be able to distinguish what myself and Malik is actually saying.
That's why I say sometimes we need to break it down a little bit further, because people can take that as, because I have common sense, and I took it like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm sure someone else may take it that way too. So I need to voice my opinion for the people who think like me.
Right.
Not saying Malik is wrong. I'm not saying Malik is wrong.
Based on what you just said a second ago, it makes hella sense. And we would agree with you. We'll agree. You're right. You know what I mean? So, you know, we're not arguing, because sometimes we have differences of opinion. Right. That doesn't mean I'm right, you're wrong, or vice versa. Because I think there's many roads to get to justice, okay? And get the fact or the points out. Whether we take my way, your way, Malik way, we all are fighting and talking about the same shit, because we want the same, we want the same outcome. Right. There's no way we would excuse and say, oh, cops are stressed out, they have a lot on their plate. Shit, I got a lot on my plate just being a dark-skinned man in this country. I got to duck and dive shit every day. Being a dark-skinned brother, a fairer-skinned brother get a hell of a better shot than I get. And this is what you want to lead into about colorism.
Yeah, I do want to say this, because a lot of people, for the people listening though, I want to say this on behalf of Malik and Oran. Oran's always the middle. He's the middleman. Me and Malik, we go head to head. But
About two
I've
cents.
had to explain to several people, so I'm gonna just do this publicly. People be thinking that me and Malik are actually bumping heads, and we're not at all, ever.
No.
We just express things differently, and we come from different angles. But if you really pay attention, we always end up at the same place.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? We come from a
That's a
different
fact.
angle. We have two different paths to get to the same place, like Oran was just explaining. But I've had a couple of people be like, damn, it seems like Malik don't like you. I'm like, shit, now, or like, or they'll say, you and Malik seem like you bump heads. We don't ever bump heads.
Stop right
Never.
there.
Never.
Stop right there. Stop right there. I don't know who made that comment, right? And I don't take it as disrespect,
They were just
right?
inquiring. They weren't
Let
tripping.
me just say this though, right? My sister, she knows if she needs me, I'm a plane ticket away. My sister knows that if her family, her and her sons are threatened or their lives is threatened, I'm a plane ticket away. Don't let this sit down conversation fool you. I still know how to put that work in when it comes to mine. All right, don't get it confused. Don't confuse the dialogue for some type of dislike and contempt. I love my sister and I love my brother. And again, I'm gonna say this publicly. Now, hold on. I'm gonna say this publicly. Violate one of mine, they both know I'm a flight away.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line. We don't do
And
911.
and when they asked me in love. They didn't ask me in like, oh my God, what's wrong with you and Malik? They were just asking because a lot of people, we have strong personalities, all three of us. And a lot of people just on one-on-one don't know how to take our personalities. So put us together, that's a big ass personality on the sit down.
That's a fact.
And actually what it is and what I love about the sit down is we are all strong personalities and we all go hard in our own different ways, right? And we all doing different things. But at the end of the day, this is an example of how people can have and digress and have, debates and opinions without being enemies. Right? This
because
is an example
of
the conversations that are supposed to be having.
Because of the simple fact that all three of us, neither one of us is here to play a game. Neither one of us is here to waste anybody's time. Neither one of us is here for just social commentary. You understand? We was having these conversations before we even thought about the sit down. But we thought, but the brother came up with the sit down, and we collectively agreed to do this because of our passion and our love and respect for the community. We don't take this lightly. This is not something we do to shine. You understand? Me and my comrades and my sister, we've been shining all our lives, but we shine for the wrong reasons. You understand? So we know what it's like to be in the spotlight. Me and my brother, we know what it's like to walk into a club and all eyes is on you. We know what that feeling. We don't want that kind of spotlight. We're not looking for notoriety. Me and my brother, we had notoriety in the streets and in the penitentiary for putting in work, getting busy and getting money. We don't need notoriety. We are here with this sit down because we're passionate about what's going on in our community, because what affects my neighbor affects me. There's no way in the hell, and I'm gonna pass the mic with this. There's no way in the hell. I don't give a good damn what my neighbor looks like, smells like, what their religious background, persuasion, sexual orientation is. I don't care about none of that. There's no way that my neighbors is hungry, and I know my neighbor's hungry, and I'm not gonna give my neighbor no food. This is how we come up.
Right.
Well, I like what the last, a couple of last messages, the person put up and said, if we agree 100% of the time, what would be the purpose of the show?
Yeah, we don't need nobody just nodding and being like, yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
This is what sparks healthy debates and conversation. But we all are getting to the same point. We all three of us going to do the same place. So understand,
together.
It's never a beef. We may differ in opinions, but this is what makes the sit down. And that's why we're here 2 days a week to speak to our people, speak to our supporters, the people who love us, and show you the truth and tell you the truth. Don't ever get sideways, twisted, or mixed up that we tripping or we beefing with each other, because as I say, we family. You fight one, you fighting all. And our game is done. Don't ever be fooled by the smooth, whatever faces or whatever you think. Like, we have to put it out there like that. Don't let anything fool you and cause you to get tripped up because you're gonna lose before we do. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah.
So I have to put that out there. You know what I mean? Malik bring it his way, CDL bring her way. I'm gonna bring it my way. But we are one united front. We always gonna be that. So anyone who may have thoughts and ideas in their head about, oh, Malik is always getting at her, they don't allow her time to talk, and this, that, and other. If you notice, I'm always saying, hold on a second, sis, what you gotta say? Get in there. Hold on, Malik, sis.
And if I was really tripping, I'd be like, yo. I mean, I know how to interject myself and shut it down.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And we both know, and all of us know who the queen is. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no kings on this panel. Ain't no kings on this panel, but we do know there's a queen on this panel. We do know that she's a queen, and we recognize as that. We don't refer to ourselves as kings. She refers to us as kings because we refer to her as the queen. And we already knew before we even came on air day one that we was gonna have different opinions and it was gonna get heated sometimes. But at the end of the day, we knew we loved each other.
And guess what? We was not going to do the show without her. She's a queen.
No, absolutely not.
Shit.
Absolutely not.
You know what's funny is and J-Ban, she said, I've had a similar comment. I made a similar comment, but don't think y'all dislike each other. I understand conversation with different viewpoints. You know, and also you guys need to know, J-Ban, I already know your intent is always positive. You don't even have to explain that. But a lot of times we play devil's advocate on purpose.
Yes, indeed.
So that we can see so we can show each other and others how you can disagree without being enemies and disrespectful and calling each other names and falling out. Every time I get heated, because I get heated on the show. I don't know if anyone's noticed. I'm a little, I get heated, right?
Really?
And I might be irritated. But as soon as we hit end stream, that shit all gone. What's up? What's up, King? What's up? What we doing? And so, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, I turn up and then I let it go. You know, because these are my people. So, you know, but I like it. I just wanted to bring it up because when I was getting heated, and I'm attacking sometimes, like I go in, and so I don't want I didn't want other people to misconstrue the fact that I talk a certain way because I know my brothers understand me. They know where I'm coming from. They know who I am, and I don't want people to think that, you know, we be beefing behind the scenes, and we don't. And I just think it's a healthy thing. I think it's a beautiful, healthy thing, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, I like it when we start combating a little bit. You know what I mean? Because it's healthy. Because not all people of color think one linear way. Not even as a people.
Go ahead, what you want to say?
Elizabeth City in North Carolina just issued, well, earlier they did it, but it just came up again, issued a state of emergency for the killing of that brother Andrew Brown down there in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Those are the things that fire us up, that we are passionate about, that we bring you guys and you ladies, and this is how we, you know, come to you, because we was out there before. We was on the other side before. Of course, not on the police side. You already know that, but we was in the streets before. And with age should come wisdom and some type of passion for things that's greater than yourself. You know what I mean? So I just saw that flash, and it just lets me know what's getting ready to happen again down in the city, Elizabeth City, North Carolina. So, you know, I want to encourage you, brothers and sisters, to check that out. You know what I mean? You know, stay vigilant wherever you are, and make sure you're always careful how you moving out in the streets, in your cars, when you're going in. I'm not trying to make you alarmed and be afraid to live your life, but, you know, be cognizant of your surroundings when you walk into these grocery stores, the post office, wherever you go. You know what I mean? You pulling up to a stoplight, you know what I mean? Make sure if you're gonna drive, you understand what I'm saying? You got all your documents, your license, your registration, the things that you need. At least could slow down a lot of that nonsense. And, you know, when the police, if I say when, like it's going to happen, if police happen to get behind you, pull you over, always have your phone. Listen, you can just stop me for anything. I'm recording. Unfortunately and sadly, that is the state of America right now for black and brown people, people of color. That is the state. And so let's be vigilant, let's be conscious, let's be safe out there. Let's support our people, let's support one another, support each other's businesses. And that's first. Let's support each other's businesses, concepts, ideas. You know what I mean? If you see somebody's child out there that's not your child, and you see them doing something wrong, or you can help them in any kind of way, even with a hug. Because sometimes, I think I said this my first or second show. I was on a train in New York City, early 90s. I was coming home from work. And I had my tool belt on, my shirt was all dusty, I got a construction job. And I was beat down and I was tired. And I was sitting in one chair in the corner. And the older lady was sitting in the corner. She just kept looking at me. And she did something simple as this. She did like this. She said, and without smile. You know what I mean? Without saying a smile, because she looked at me. And immediately it warmed my heart. It made me smile. I said, damn, somebody saw me and encouraged me to whatever you're going through, how hard your day was, smile. You know what I mean? So if you see somebody, kids out there, even if it's a stranger, we don't gotta have the mean mug all the time. We have to, grill somebody all the time. A hello, what up, how you doing, a smile, even a hug. So I know that probably was just a little bit of a deviation, but I always try to bring it back to what we all three are actually here for, to educate, to show y'all love. Hopefully you will always show us some love. We want to give love, and like Malik says all the time, when this is over, keep the conversations going, speak to the people. You ain't got to be hard all the time, but when you got to go there, you got to be what you got to be. You know what I mean? So I just needed to.
And I'm not that mean, guys.
Yeah. So real quick, man.
Not you guys. I know you guys don't think that, but other people think I'm mean all the time. I'm not mean all the time, but I am militant all the time.
Right.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And I can even tell you this with a smile. So see, I smile too.
Right. Yeah. But just to sum it up real quick, man, until
not that mean.
Until these officers, man, you understand, that are killing people, black people and brown people, man, actually state, why they're doing it, why they did it, understand, and why they feel the way they feel. I'm gonna always have my opinion, you understand? And I'm always gonna ask the question, you understand, which is why. You understand? Because only they can speak for them. Their race can't speak for them, their family can't speak for them, their colleagues can't speak for them. Unfortunately, a lot of their colleagues share the same opinions, ideologies, or they just too afraid to stop the behavior, because you know the behavior. If my coworker is racist and feels a certain way about any group of people or race of people, I'm going to know about it. Sooner or later, I'm going to know about it. If one of my homies, his opinions about whatever, if we dialoguing, sooner or later, it's going to come out. I can't hold the next man responsible for this man's behavior and his opinions, ideologies, and his aggression. You understand? But I'm still awestruck as to where this shit is coming from.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this analogy. Not question, analogy. You know how you see a lot of Caucasians? I'm really trying to curb my language. When you see
too late for that. You didn't disrupt the whole system. Damn, don't curb it. Don't curb it now.
Okay, you know how when you see Caucasians or especially white women and they're walking down the street and they see a black man and they hold their purse, or they're driving through the neighborhood and they end up in the bad side and they lock their door?
Yeah.
We do the same thing now with the police, right? When police pull us over, we make a phone call, hurry up and get our shit, and we start recording. So I understand that we can't stereotype one thing to a whole race of people, but it is difficult to not do that with the police right now, especially because, yes, we got somewhat so far justice for George Floyd, but how many countless cops have gotten away with it? And which ones of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here that's just happened in the last week or so are going to get, you know what I'm saying, justice in their name? You know what I'm saying? So it's really difficult because I'm hey, I'm racially profiling the cops right now. They can racially profile who they want, but I'm racially profiling them too. Because as soon as I see a white cop and then I see that second car, videos are coming out. So, you know, I don't think we should, and I agree with you, not all cops are bad, but white silence is violence, and so is cop silence. So the ones who are not holding the other ones accountable, it's really difficult for us to see. Right? Yeah, there is some good cops because the emotions are so great because white silence is violence when a white ally doesn't speak up for the black community and allows some things to happen. It's the same with these good cops who are not saying anything. Right? That's why I really wish our guest would have been here because, you know, I'm clear when you say that, like, you know, and I know some cops and I'm like, you know, you're right. Not all cops are bad, but I can't have that conversation right now because I'm clear on where I'm at. Until you good cop start checking these bad cops, you culpable.
Let me give you an example, then we'll shut up. My sister-in-law, right, was a cop in the 80s and in the early 90s in Jamaica, Queens, in New York. She was a cop and during the time when Queens reigned supreme when it came to getting drug money with certain individuals that was in Queens popping. She pulled up to Baisley Projects one day, Baisley Housing Projects in Jamaica, Queens, with her partner in a blue and white car. This is real shit, man. God forgive me. And she got there, the narcos or the undercover cops was already on the scene, patting dudes down that they suspected was drug dealers. Then they were. That they suspected had weapons and drugs, they didn't. So when they knew they didn't have, when they didn't find anything, when she pulled up with her black partner, another female, she witnessed the white undercover, right, go into their car and bring out some drugs that they took from somebody else, doing an arrest on a path risk, and tried to plant that in this dude's just drug dealer dude's car. The dude that they tried to set up was a known drug dealer. He was a known drug trafficker, and he was heavy in the drug trade. She reported that shit. And she was reprimanded. And at this time, she reported it to her superior, what she saw. She was reprimanded. That was her first experience with the blue wall of silence. However, subsequently, that following year, she retired. Going in her 11th year, she retired because of that incident and the reprimand from the superior officer.
Hey.
But that goes back to what CDL was just saying.
It goes back to ally versus accomplice. Like
if
you either willing to go hard for your people, no matter what it costs you. And if that means my life, my platforms, my reputation, and my freedom. When it comes to my people, that's the difference between an ally and accomplice. Right?
That's the reason why.
These white people, these cops that are not saying anything, they're accomplices, but they're for the other side.
That's the reason why I mentioned that story briefly, because of what you stated, and you were saying that you wish the guest was going to be here, was able to be here today. But when you said that, but when you said that, it did real quick, boom, it just took me back to that conversation that I had with her years ago. You know what I mean? And that's crazy.
You saying good cops have to speak up because when they don't, it makes all cops look bad.
And that makes it don't make them look bad. They are all bad if they don't speak up.
Exactly, if you don't speak up. And what's crazy about that, right? Everybody's heard of tips. 5711 tips. You know what I mean? If you see something, there's a number they put on the screen or a number you can call tips and just, you know what I mean? Tell them like down. So, you know, you ever heard of 57 in New York was 5711 tips. You know, call police instead of calling 911, call tips. Leave your message or message anonymously. And the crazy shit about that is the police is always talking about if you see something, say something. But y'all don't say shit when you see it every day with your port.
They're the biggest gang. They're the biggest gang members.
Right. How you want us to tell something when you don't? You stand by like the Asian dude Tao and the other three guys. He stood by, pushed everybody away while this man put his knee on his neck and watched him die. And the other two officers held him down. Okay? But you want the public
to be
to say.
sympathetic.
So until the good cops start saying something, all of you start saying something, standing up, the general public is going to view all of you as bad cops. Okay? So that's what my sister's saying. That's what my brother's saying about the family when she was an officer. Until you good cops stop asking us that if we see something, say something. When you see it every day with your partners and in your station house and in your squad every day, how about you say something?
And then to have the audacity to want people to respect them, to have the audacity to demand respect from the public when you give none. Where I come from, and make it understood, you don't get no respect unless you give some. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
All right,
Yep. Hey, so with that being said, it's about that time where we wind it down and close out. Again, thank you to all who've tuned in. Thank you for all those who've tuned in for the first time. Again, I apologize for the interruption on the technical side on my end. I apologize for being late. Again, this is the sit down where the truth is told and real stories unfold. I invite you, we implore you, we ask you that once the sit down goes off the head, that we ask you to continue the conversation. It doesn't have to be the conversation about a topic in particular that we discuss here in the sit down, but we asking you, we're imploring you to have dialogue, constructive dialogue about what's going on in the community that's harmful and that's not beneficial. You know what I mean? We got to start having these real conversations, man, because social media, reality TV, work and play. We got to remember a lot of stuff going on in the community, man, that's going to affect you one way or another, whether it's direct or indirectly. You understand? And these conversations bring about change, God willing.
Indeed.
Anything else?
No, we didn't hit my topic again. I know my other viewers are hating me because we've been asking for this topic for a month, but we're gonna have to do it next time.
Got you Thursday, sis.
This topic is more important to me than the topic I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, right now in the heat of the moment of these individuals who are listed at the bottom of our screen. The topic today on the police and the racism and what's happening in our communities is very prevalent, more prevalent than what I was going to talk about. And rest in peace to these people, and peace to their families, because I can't fathom. Just know, I'll pray that it never happens to me, because I will not be sitting on the sit down. You know what I'm saying?
Neither would Malik. So that should be.
I don't even want to think about that, bro. I know my mentality.
Well, and it's mad, and I know you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk about it, but my son, I have to think about it every day he walk out the house.
Yeah, that's a fact. I'm not tired of talking about it.
The other little one that's usually with him, they're at least in teams. Well, he's gone for a week, so my son keep leaving the house by himself, and my anxiety is like.
Nah, I'm tired of hearing you talking about. I got a grandson that's 15 years old. You understand? 15 years old in New York. You understand? So I'm not tired of you hearing you talking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay on it. I'm gonna stay passionate about it. And Wesley Griffin, Black Power, power to the people.
Who says I've received 100 messages today with restream chat?
No. That's private. That's just that's because of the no, that's not private. It's the platform that we're using. Our restreams. They let us know that every time we get over 100 comments.
Okay.
So they're letting us know that we reached 100 comments today.
Very good.
We need more comments.
Ron, you good?
I'm good. I'm good. CDL wanted to say
I'm good.
All right.
I'm good. So, thank you for letting me cuss the police.
Yes, ma'am. Anytime. Shit. With that being said, once again, thank you for tuning in to the sit down where the truth is told, real stories unfold. We hope that we said something that was beneficial to you what you could take from the show and have a conversation after the show, or just think about some things and, you know, it'll spark a change or a dialogue in your own mind where you can, you know, continue the conversation, if not tonight, tomorrow, or the next day. You know what I mean? That's our one of our responsibilities here to sit down.
All right, Snoop.
Hey,
Snoop.
and
Hey,
D asked what topic I was gonna. D, I've been trying to hit the topic on colorism forever, but we're gonna get there.
We're gonna get to that Thursday.
Thursday, that's the first topic. So D, see us on Thursday. She after Malik's open up, Malik ain't gonna do enough 2 minutes worth of talking. We on her topic.
That's
no,
right.
Don't worry about look. Hey, I believe this. It flowed the way it flowed.
We on
listen, you already know the opening is just that. A minute and less. I mean, we get to the opening, we get to the business at hand. The opening is not no open mic with no freestyle and poetry. It's to shoot that 30-second intro and we get to that business. So the brother's absolutely correct. You understand? So with that being said,
the question. She just wanted to know what the topic was.
Okay, for sure. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you Thursday. And we ask that you tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend. Hit that like button, subscribe, the notification bell, and tune in next Thursday for this powerful, powerful topic. Because we all know how she give it up, and I know for a fact it's going to be powerful. And for some people, it just may be emotional. With that being said, peace, love, God bless you and your family. Stay safe, stay up. One.
Love, peace.